el exec, el Vele, el fenómeno que todos quieren ser, el chamaquito que no pueden entender.
How we doing, guys? Welcome back to the Exec Talk Podcast. I'm your host, Velez. Welcome to episode 132. One of the last few episodes before football season where it's very slow, not a lot of news. So we're just going to touch on everything sports that's happening this weekend, and we're going to break down the AFC North and NFC North for sure. Also, just announced, shout out to Joey Votto on a retirement. 17 years in the major leagues, 6 All-Star selections, 2010 NL MVP, and I believe like 4 Gold Gloves. Let me see right here. I just got it. Let's see here. Oh, 1 Gold Glove. 17 years, 2010 NL MVP in his 3rd season, 6-time All-Star, Gold Glove. Yeah, he's going to Cooperstown. He's eligible in 2029. He's definitely going to Cooperstown as a first baseman. Has been a Red for his whole career. His MVP season was 324 average, a .324. OBP, on base percentage of 424, 424. A slugging percentage of 600. 37 home runs, 113 RBI. Pretty darn good season for a first baseman. So shout out to Joey on that. I've been watching him play. He has one of the smoothest strokes in the game for home runs. Super smooth. The pose. Yeah, loved watching him play, and he's going to be missed dearly, but I think it was time to go. I hadn't seen him once this whole year, so I think it was time to go. Besides that, we have some announcement to make for the Denver Broncos. I would like to congratulate Bo Nix on being named the starting quarterback for the Denver Broncos starting week 1. If I'm being honest, and we're not going to talk about the AFC West this episode, that would be next episode. If I'm being honest, Bo Nix named the starter. This is not a surprise to me in the slightest. I expected this. The way Shaun Payton had been talking about this kid even before he drafted him with Colin Cowherd when he was on FS1. It just, once he picked him, you knew he was going to be his starting quarterback. He wasn't going to put no Jared Stidham above him. What I think is he is going to be like this. I think that team is going to be good. Possibly second best in the AFC West. The Chargers will definitely have something to say about that. The Raiders, I'm not so sure. The thing about Bo Nix is that he has mobility, but he can play within the pocket. He has a big enough arm, but he can hit you in the seams. So he has the ability to be explosive, but is perfectly fine working within the offense. And that's what Shaun Payton wants. He wanted a guy that he can liken to Drew Brees. Drew Brees didn't have the athleticism. He had the accuracy, of course. So what was Shaun Payton looking for? Well, Drew Brees 2.0. This time you get the guy with the accuracy, 76, I believe it was 76% completion percentage in college, if not at Oregon. If not, it was like 74, especially this last season. And can run. And can move outside the pocket. And can make throws on the run. But still run a Shaun Payton offense with the screens and the slants. So I think it was a good move by the Broncos to name it Name him early, relatively early. One more preseason game to go. The season's right around the corner, around like a week. So, I think it was a very smart decision by Shaun Payton, and we all expected it. And he's been playing really well in the preseason. Although it is the preseason, he has been going against ones, and he's been doing pretty well. Next, CeeDee Lamb, still not fixed. I don't know what the Cowboys are waiting for. This is starting. It's looking like it's gonna affect fantasy football. Yesterday I had my first draft of the season with my boys, and CeeDee Lamb went third. I was fourth. I picked Breece Hall, number 1 CMC, number 2 Tyreek. I mean, it was very chalky, especially first 4 picks. We did have a surprise, Lamar Jackson in the first round. That was interesting. We had Raheem Mostert at 17. That was interesting. But overall, pretty solid draft. There's a lot of smart people in there besides some of the troll, I don't know if he was trolling, but to pick Lamar and then Raheem Mostert 1-2, that's ballsy, man. That's ballsy. It's bold. He knows what I'm talking about. But CD, I'm going to say this once. I've probably said it before. But how in the F do you expect to have any semblance of not even compatible, comprehensive offense when the guy who Tally was accountable for over 70% of your offense, especially in the passing game, hasn't touched the practice field all training camp, all off season long? I don't understand. It's gonna come to a head, and you're gonna have to pay him, and you should have paid him before, because now what does that open up? A guy that doesn't get into football shape or is in training camp is more liable to soft tissue injuries. And with receivers, that's the worst thing you can have. A hamstring, a calf, a hip flexor, a groin, a AC joint. You want to go upper body. You don't want to have that. So you pay him. Now, Dak has been practicing without him. Does that mean he has developed some chemistry? More chemistry with Brandon Cooks and Jake Ferguson? We will see. But as of right now, what I see is an unhappy CD, no talks of an extension getting done, or a new contract, and the season being 2 weeks away. So that's why I said the Cowboys just don't impress me this year, man, especially offensively. Next, Brandon Ayuk, still at the same stalemate of all that we've been. Nothing's happening. The 49ers and the Steelers had a trade ironed out, like structured. They had the structure of a trade. But I think deep down, 49ers don't want to let go of Ayuk. They understand his value. He understands his value. But I think I give him another week. Once the season starts to loom. Another guy who, the training camp, not practicing. Very, very detrimental to himself and the team. Jamar Chase, not practicing. He's 2 years out. I have no clue why this guy is asking for money. No clue. His best friend Justin Jefferson is getting paid $35 a year. Justin Jefferson has a more sustainable track record of staying healthy. And I think that's why he got that money. Also, he is the offense. Not saying that Jamar Chase is not the offense of the Bengals, but he's not entirely the offense. Joe Burrow's still there. So I think overall, all these three receivers, although they should get paid, and I'm not saying they should not. They should definitely get paid. But man, is it gonna cost their teams either a game, a playoff berth? Because as a receiver, as a top 10, as a top receivers, CeeDee Lamb runs in the 4.4s or 4.5s. Ayuk is in the 4.4s or 4.5s, and then Jamar runs 4.3. Hamstrings, calves, knees, hip flexors, groins, like those are the type of things that you need practice and training camp to make them used to the rigors of the NFL season. So it's going to be very interesting to see what happens with those three receivers. And then there's Hassan Reddick. Hassan Reddick hasn't shown up to a meeting. Hasn't shown up to the building. Was in Japan. The Jets are I don't know what to say anymore about these guys, man. The storylines that come out of the Jets sometimes are out of movie scripts. Guy gets traded there for the younger guy, and the guy gets traded because he wanted a contract, but he's a little bit older. Super Bowl champion, impactful, still impactful off the edge, fast, but gets traded to a team and now decides to be like, if you're not paying me, I'm not going to play. This man has lost over $1 million already in fines. And if he starts losing game checks, if he misses games, it's almost $1 million a game. So non-refundable. So, you can't recover it because he's an older player. You can't recover the fines. So I don't know what the Jets are going to do. I think that they can survive not having him, even though he would be the number one pass rusher with Will McDonald and Jermaine Johnson, but they're two basically year two guys. And Hassan was supposed to be the stalwart there with experience and teaching them how to become great edge rushers. That's what the Jets are, bro. When it comes to off-season drama and them and the Cowboys have some interesting ways of going about this football thing, especially on the managerial ownership level side. And this is the last straw for Saleh, in my opinion. This is it. If Saleh does not bring home at least a playoff win this year, he's getting shit canned. Now, who could be there? Maybe Bobby Slowick, Ben Johnson. There's a lot of candidates. Bill Belichick. There's a lot of candidates. There's a lot. But get your shit together. Pay the guy. You traded for him, pay him. I think. But he's also another guy. Edge rusher, hamstrings, calves, hip flexors. If you're not in camp and you're not practicing, even if you're holding in like Jamar is, it's not good for your body, and therefore it's not good for the future of the team. If you ask Joe Burrow, I promise you that he would be wanting to throw the Jamar Chase since training camp day one. If you ask Brock Purdy, he would want to be throwing to Brandon Cooks since training camp day one. And if you ask Dak Prescott, he would be begging on his knees pleading to have CeeDee Lamb training camp day one. So, and same thing with Salah and Hassan. I just don't understand it. I don't get it. It makes no sense to me. I know the salary cap, you can do some stuff with it, but it's going to come to a point, each one of these situations, whether they pay or something else happens or they don't play. Jamar did sit out a whole season because of COVID. So that's not beneath him. He's made a lot of money. He's one of the biggest personalities in the game, you know. But I think he wants to like go after a Super Bowl with Joe Burrow and take advantage of this window that he has with his best friend quarterback. So I just don't get it. I don't understand. Daytona this weekend for NASCAR. So it's the Daytona Summer Race. Used to be called the Pepsi 400. I don't know what it's called now. But one thing about this race, super exciting. Super, super exciting from the drop of the green flag. You're going to be seeing 200 miles an hour plus in the draft, long drafts, long pushes. It's going to be great. It's also going to be unpredictable. This is the type of track where I would say there is definitely a possibility for even a first-time winner or a non-winner this year to win. Kyle Busch, Joey Logano, and then, Corey LaJoy's and your Josh Berry's, your Austin Dillon's, which got suspended. Actually, not suspended. They docked him points, so he went from being locked in with the win to the win getting taken away from him. Actually, no. The win is still his, but they took away all the points from the win. He went to 31st. They took away like 60 points. So he has to win again to get in. Because of the move he made on Denny Hamlin and on Joey Logano, which is perfectly fine. I mean, it was crazy. I mean, it was literally get out of my way. I need to win. So I understand. But Daytona's going to be great. You have Indy at Portland. Portland's a nice little racetrack. Really exciting in the back. And the back half of that racetrack is a giant, not a straightaway, but it's a corner where they get almost 190. And now with the hybrid systems, I'm thinking they maybe hit 200 back there, maybe 210. And that's where they pass, but it's super dangerous because you're on the edge of grip. So Portland is a really, really nice racetrack. I expect Alex Palou to dominate again. Alex Palou has been great at Portland. Scott Dixon always has a possibility to win there. Scotty Mack, but overall, I think it'll be a good race. I genuinely think it'll be an exciting race. And then the Formula One race at Zandvoort, that's just going to be great. Actually, well, it depends. There is a very legitimate possibility that the Red Bull, especially at home, because that's Verstappen's home track, starts to maybe they put some upgrades in and everything. Because right now, the fastest, as we left off, the fastest car was McLaren. Now, Zandvoort is the type of track where whoever gets pole is most likely to win. Yeah, it's like a Monaco, but it's not like short like Monaco. The thing is, it has tight turns, very little spaces for passing. So you have to be like cheeky about it and be a good driver to pass at that track. Pole-wise, I think Norris has a big shot. I think Lewis has a shot. I'm going to pick Verstappen just because it is his home track, but I think Oscar Piastri, Lewis Hamilton, Norris, and Russell all have shots at the pole. Winning it, like I said, it depends on the pole. If I had to pick somebody, I would say Lando, just because I believe they have the strongest car. But I could definitely see Oscar Piastri, Lewis, Max. I could see them winning as well. But it's going to be fun. We're back to Formula One. I love it. Second half, here we come. All right. NFC North, AFC North. We'll start with the NFC North. Probably one of the most anticipated divisions in all of football, if I had to say. But let's go to the AFC North because we started with the AFC before. Actually, no, we started with the NFC before. So we'll start with the NFC North. Let's start with Chicago. It's all excitement. Everything is excitement. Caleb, Rome, Keenan, DJ Moore, DeAndre Swift, the defense, Jalen Johnson, Montez Sweat. Everything is exciting. Will it all come together? Will it all come together? That is literally the phrase for the Bears season. Or will it be a Caleb Williams rookie year, some good, some bad, and the team lands somewhere in between? If that happens, I think Eberflus walks. Not saying particularly that could happen because that defense is really good, and Caleb so far in the preseason, and again, it is the preseason, has shown the ability that he used to at USC and at Oklahoma, and the throws and the mobility. But can Chicago put it together? This is a team who hasn't won a Super Bowl since 1985. Hasn't been to the Super Bowl since 2006. No, not six. Colts, Saints, 2009. 2008, I believe. No. Yes, I believe 2008 was the last time when they went to Miami against the Colts and Devin Hester took the kickoff back. I believe that was 2008. 2009 was the Saints. 2010, I think, was the Patriots again. So, in over 2024, 2014 would be 10 years. 15 years. 15, 16 years. Yeah. I think at that point, you gotta look for something. Okay? And the last time they won a playoff game might have been the same time. So Eberflus right now is not on the hot seat. He commands the defense. The team looks good. They restocked everywhere. Can the offensive line hold up? Can DeAndre Swift be productive if the offensive line doesn't hold up? And how many times will Caleb get sacked? Because if that offensive line is not good, he will get sacked. He was the most sacked quarterback in last year in his career. For his career, in the 3 years that he played at Oklahoma and the 2 at USC, he was the most sacked quarterback in college football. So, one of the longest time to pass, too. So, all that encompassing, what can they put it together? That's literally it. If we go through the schedule, We load through the schedule. And if you want to go to the roster, I mean, I went through a couple of them. You got Caleb. Your running back is between, in my opinion, Khalil Herbert and DeAndre Swift and Roshan Johnson. You got Keenan Allen. You got DJ Moore. You got Roma Dunze. Not much. I mean, you don't need much else there. You still have Cole Kmet. You know what I'm saying? And then on defense, you know, you got some studs. You got Montez Sweat. Andrew Billings is a good DT. Jalen Hutchings. Tremaine Edmonds. TJ Edwards. Kyler Gordon. Jalen Johnson. Tyreek Stevenson. Jaquan Brisker. Kevin Byard. I mean, you are stacked to the gills of talent. But the team, the games is what matters. And you start off with the Titans at home. I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt because it's just Will Levis, second year, you know, first year versus second year. Caleb's at home. I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt. Bears win against the Titans. Week 2 against Texans at Houston, you're losing. You're massacred. Week 3 versus the Colts. Close game. AR versus him in Indianapolis. I think the Colts win that one. The Rams, you lose. Panthers, you win. Jaguars, close, but you lose in your house. Commanders, 1 versus 2 in the draft order. At Washington, I think Jaden gets you this time. At his house. I think Jaden gets you this time. Unless your defense just balls out. Against the Cardinals, close game. I think Kyler beats you. Against the Patriots in Chicago, you beat them. Against the Packers, you're losing, even though it's at your house. Against the Vikings, at your house, is a toss-up because of Sam Darnold. If Sam Darnold is balling, you're losing. But if Sam Darnold's having issues already, or still, because it's November 24th, you can win that game because Caleb will probably be seasoned at that point. Against the Lions, you're losing, especially in Detroit. Against 49ers, you're losing in Santa Clara. Vikings again, but in Minnesota, I think you lose that one. You still lose against the Lions at your house. You lose against the Seahawks at your house. And you lose against the Packers in Lambeau. 6-7 wins? That's what you're looking at. The schedule is not that easy for you. 6-7 wins. You might be able to squeeze more if you play the Colts really well, the Jaguars, Commanders. I just don't think you could beat the Packers. The Vikings. You can't beat the Lions. You can't beat the 49ers. You can't beat the Seahawks, in my opinion. Their defense is too good. So, yeah, 6, 7, 8 wins, man. 6, 7, 8 wins is what we're looking at. Minnesota. Gotta change everything that we know about you already because we were going to go Sam Darnold and then J.J. McCarthy. And now we're just going Sam Darnold. They have Jaron Hall. They signed Matt Corral, giving him another chance out of Ole Miss after he hurt himself in Carolina and never got to play after Bryce Young got drafted. JJ's gone. JJ looked good, but now JJ's gone. Todd Chandler, Myles Gaskin, Aaron Jones. Aaron Jones is going to be the starter, I think, there. If not, Ty Chandler. Or Nwanu. Jordan Addison, Tristan Jackson, which is a kid that I've been seeing, the guy that that JJ threw the 2 touchdowns to when he played in the preseason game. Justin Jefferson, Jalen Naylor, Brandon Powell, Trent Sherfield Jr. You still got TJ Hawkinson, although I believe he's on IR. Ready for anywhere from 3 to 7. Yeah, he's going to miss anywhere from 3 to 7 regular season games with a knee. So that's tough. Probably Neil Johnson. If not, Trey Knox, Johnny Munt, Nick Muse. I remember Nick Muse from South Carolina. Don't have to worry. Robert Tonyan. Don't have to worry about the offensive line in the sense of like it's basically the same. Jonathan Bullard, expecting a big jump from you. Harrison Phillips, Taki Tamani, Jerry Tillery. You got Blake Cashman, Jabril Cox, Jonathan Grenard. Expect him to be good. Ivan Pace Jr., Dallas Turner. I expect you to be a monster. I think Dallas Turner can get 10 sacks this season as a rookie. I honestly think so. Stephon Gilmore, they signed him, so they locked down the other corner. Byron Murphy. Louis Cine coming off he's fully healthy off the injury. Bobby McCain. Harrison Smith. So with that in mind, with everything in that in mind, I still believe in KOC, Kevin O'Connell. And he's such an offensive mind and so good that I think he can make Sam Darnold look good. Now, what does that actually mean for the season? Well, week 1, easy cake. Get Sam Darnold nice and settled in against the Giants in New Meadowlands. That's a win. But immediately into the shithole, even though it's at your house, you have Sam Darnold versus the 49ers. You're losing that. Then you go into the shithole again, even though you're at home, going against the Texans. You're losing that. Then you go to Lambeau. You're losing that in Lambeau against the Packers. Against the Jets at your house. It all depends on how the Jets are playing. If the Jets are playing like the Jets of usual, you can win that. If the Jets are playing like the Jets with Aaron Rodgers, Breece Hall, Garrett Wilson, and that defense clicking, you're losing that. That's 1-3. Okay? 1-4. Against the Lions, you're losing even though you're at home. Against the Rams in SoFi, you still have you have a detriment at quarterback after week 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, almost 7, if not 8 weeks in a row where you're deficient at quarterback compared to your opponents. Besides Daniel Jones, you're facing Brock Purdy, CJ Stroud, Jordan Love, Aaron Rodgers, Jared Goff. You know, that's tough, man. And then Matthew Stafford. So I think against the Rams, that's another loss. The Colts at your house, I think you win that. The Jaguars in Jacksonville, you lose. The Titans in Tennessee, it all depends about how Will Levis is playing and how Sam Darnold is playing. At this point, if Sam Darnold's playing bad at this point, Jaren Hall is going to get a go. Matt Corral is going to get a go. It'll become the quarterback carousel again. So against the Jaguars, I think you lose in Jacksonville. Titans in Tennessee. That's a tough one. I think you win that one. I think you start figuring it out. Against the Bears, you're winning just because you have more experience out there. But they can shock you, especially in Chicago. Against the Cardinals, you should win. I think you have the better defense and a more explosive offense. So you should win against the Cardinals, especially at your house. Against the Falcons and Kirk Cousins, you're not winning. Even if it's Michael Penix, you're still not winning. They have you on quarterback. Against the Bears again at your house, you're winning. Against the Seahawks in Seattle, you're losing. Against the Packers at your house, you're losing. And against the Lions in Detroit, you're losing. And 7 to 8, 9 wins. 7 to 8 to 9. Like, that's it. No JJ. No Kirk. Sam Darnold, we trust. I love KOC, but man, that's tough. All right, let's move on to the actual guys that people say are going to win. Green Bay Packers. Listen, when I look at this roster, I see potential stars everywhere. Jordan Love could be the MVP, according to everybody. Josh Jacobs is going to be a great addition. Marshawn Lloyd is going to be a great rookie at the running back position. You have Romeo Doubs. You still have Malik Heath, which is a sleeper. So a sleeper. Bo Milton, another sleeper. Then you get into Jaden Reed. Torre, Samori, sleeper. Christian Watson, Dontavian Wicks. You got Tucker Kraft. You got Luke Musgrave. Okay? The offensive line, don't got to worry about it. It's good. On the defensive side, Kingsley Enagbare, Rashawn Gary, Preston Smith, Lucas Van Ness, Kenny Clark, TJ Slayton, Devontae Wyatt, Edgerrin Cooper. I expect a big season from the rookie linebacker. Isaiah McDuffie, Quay Walker, expect a big season out of you. Jair Alexander, expect another all-pro season out of you. I expect big things from Corey Ballantyne. Keyshawn Nixon, another year. Javon Bullard. I expect a good season from you, from the rookie. So Xavier McKinney's a good addition. So when we get to... So the Packers it's literally going to be, are they too young? That's the narrative. For the Vikings, their narrative is next year. Unfortunately, that's the narrative. JJ healthy. Next year or at the end of the year to see what you got. For the Packers, unless Sam Darnold's really good. For the Packers, are they too young? Does Jordan Love need one more year? Because the other team we're going to talk about in this division doesn't need one more year. This is their year. Last year was the prep year, and they got pretty darn close. This year, they won it all. So, and they have the coach to do it. So when we look at this schedule and we think about their season, they're starting off in Brazil. In Sao Paulo, my girlfriend's home, where she's from. Shout out, baby. Against the Packers, against the Eagles. Listen, I absolutely love Jordan Love, but if there's something I know about early season Jalen Hurts, early season A.J. Brown, a brand new Saquon Barkley, I think that the Eagles are going to be prepared for this game. It's going to be a shootout, in my opinion. I don't think that it's going to be a defensive game at all. It's going to come down to one or two turnovers. But I think I got the Eagles in this one. So that's 0-1. Against the Colts at home, you got that. Against the Titans, you got that. Against the Vikings, you got that. Against the Rams, good game. But I believe at this point in the season, Jordan Love should be in a good spot. The thing is, it's at SoFi. And Stafford's at SoFi. But I think you guys get that. I think you guys get that one. Against the Cardinals, you win. Against the Texans, I think the Texans get you. I just think CJ and that defense and that offense is just a little bit too much for you right now. It's in Lambeau, though. So maybe you get home cooking advantage, but I think the Texans are going to be rolling off a high at that point. Against the Jaguars, you should win, but you're in Jacksonville, so I think they win. Against the Lions, the first time in Lambeau, you win. Okay, you win the one in your house. Against the Bears, you win, even though it's in Chicago. Against the 49ers, you're losing. I don't think you're beating 49ers. Maybe. You're at Lambeau. I might give you the benefit of the doubt when we get there, depending on how you guys are playing. But right now, I got the 49ers. Against the Lions in Detroit, you're losing. But before that, the Dolphins go to Lambeau. I think we're losing that. I think you guys are winning that. Then you go to the Lions in Detroit. I believe this is that's December 5th. You're losing that. You go to Seattle. You might sleep on them in the cold, but I think you can win that. Although I think Seattle's going to be pretty good this year. You win against the Saints at home. You win again against the Vikings. And then you win at home against the Bears. So relatively 10 to 12 win team. Okay? 10 to 12 win team. Really high hopes for the Packers and their players in fantasy. I do have Jontavian Wicks in one of my teams. Okay? If we go to Detroit, plain and simple. Can you get it done? Can you get it done? The time for prepping's over. The time for seeing if you're prepared for the moment is over. You've made it. You've made it into the playoffs. You made it deep into the playoffs. You've been in competitive playoff games. You know what it's like. You know what the physicality's like. You know what the pressure's like. Can you make it to the end? Can you duplicate what you did last year? Be a little bit better, execute a little bit better, and get to that ultimate prize. That's it. In 2 years, the Detroit Lions went from, holy shit, they suck, and they've sucked forever, to, can this team win the Super Bowl? That's how fast it changes when you get the right people in. When you get an MCDC, when you get a Ben Johnson. You know? That's how fast it can flip. Can they do it? This roster says it can. Jared Goff been playing out of his mind. You have Hendon Hooker back there if you really want to test it. If you see anything, you have Jahmyr Gibbs gonna prime for a crazy season. Now that backup is gonna be David Montgomery for sure. Vaki's gonna have a nice rookie season, and then you go into the receivers. And you got your fourth receivers, Donovan Peoples-Jones. You got Traquan Smith. You got Khalif Raymond. Amon-Ra, a monster season. Okay? A monster season. Jamison Williams, I expect a monster season. I expect. Now you 2 years removed from the ACL. Then you have Sam Laporta, probably going to be tight end 1, tight end 2 this season. I think he's going to be above George Kittle. He's definitely above George Kittle in fantasy. He's the second. He's tight end number. Yeah, he's tight end 1 because Kelsey's tight end 2. So they're expecting big things out of him. You still got Brock Wright. You don't got to worry about that offensive line. It's one of the best in the league with Penei Sewell and Glasgow, Taylor Decker. You guys are set. And then you get to Marcus Davenport, Aiden Hutchinson. I expect another 15. I expect 15 plus sacks from Aiden Hutchinson this year. Josh Pascal. You know, you have Ali McNeil, the big boy. Expect him to DJ Reader, another big boy. Mekhi Wingo, another big boy. Alex Anzalone, I expect to be a tackling machine this year. Derek Barnes, James Houston, Malik Jefferson, Malcolm Rodriguez. Like, these are Terrion Arnold. I expect the rookie to have a really good season at corner. Carlton Davis, I expect to have a really good season at corner. You have Emmanuel Mosley. You have Ennis Rakestraw Jr., the rookie out of Missouri. Brian Branch, I expect another really good season. Kirby Joseph. Efetu Melifonwu. Yeah, I tried to say his name best I could. So when it comes to the roster, don't got to worry about it. Now, what do we got? What do we got for schedule? I think the Lions are winning the NFC North. Personally, that's what I think. Rams at home, week 1 in Detroit, winning. At home against Bucks, winning. On the road against the Cardinals, winning. At home against the Seahawks, winning. Away in Dallas for the Lions. In Dallas for the Cowboys. You win that. So we're at 6-0 already. Against the Vikings in Detroit, you win that. In Minnesota, you win that. Titans in Detroit, you win. Packers Lions at Lambeau, you're losing that one. You're losing that one. At the Texans, you're losing that one. You get Jaguars at home, you win that one. You get Colts in Indianapolis, you win that one. You get the Bears at home, you win. Bills at home in Detroit. I'm going to go out on a limb here. I think you win that game. You win in Chicago. Even though I said Caleb might win that game, but I think you guys are going to be too strong by then. You win in Chicago. You lose in Santa Clara against the 49ers. And then you win at home versus the Vikings. 13, 14 wins. Possibly the number 1 seed in the NFC. That's what I'm looking at with the Detroit Lions, barring any injuries. No need to doubt them. They did it last year. They're just as good this year, if not better. So that's it for the NFC North. So it's a Packers-Lions race. And then want to see what Caleb does. And then can the Vikings even stay afloat with what they have going on? AFC North. Baltimore is literally, can you make the right decisions at the right time? Versus the Chiefs, what happened? Lamar didn't run the ball. In the playoffs, what happens? They go away from what they're good at, the running game. We don't really have to go through the roster, but we'll do it just for, we're doing everybody. You got Lamar, and 2-time MVP. You got Derrick Henry. I think he's going to have a big year because of Lamar. You still have Keaton Mitchell coming off the ACL. Then you get to Nelson Aguilar, Rashad Bateman, Zay Flowers, Russell Gage, Deontay Hardy, Anthony Miller. And then you get to Isaiah Washington from Rutgers, Mark Andrews, and you still have Isaiah Likely. Then Tyler Linderbaum, you still have your good offensive line, Ronnie Stanley. On defense, you're stacked to the gills. Travis Jones, Justin Matabike. Expect big things from both of those. Broderick Washington. Malik Harrison, Adisa Isaac, David Ojabo. Expect him to come off of the Achilles pretty well, or was it a ham? Was either Achilles or ACL. Adafe Owe, I expect a big year from him. Trenton Simpson, Roquan Smith, Kyle Van Noy. Of course, Patrick Queen, Arthur Millette, Marlon Humphrey. I expect Trayvon Mullen. Nate Wiggins, expect a big year from the rookie. Kyle Hamilton, expect an all-pro year. Marcus Williams, Eddie Jackson, they're stacked. Still got Justin Tucker. Still got Harbaugh. Against the Chiefs in Kansas City, week 1 to open the season, you're losing. I don't think the Chiefs lose back-to-back home games openers. Against the Raiders in Baltimore, you win that. Against the Cowboys in Dallas, you win. Against the Bills in Baltimore, you win. Against the Bengals in Cincinnati. All depends on how Joe Burrow's playing. But I think you win that one. I think you're going to be better than the Bengals this year. Just something tells me. In Baltimore for the Commanders, you win. Go to Tampa, you win. In Cleveland against the Browns, I believe you win, but it's close. In Baltimore against the Broncos, you win. Now, Bengals go to your house. I think you lose that one. I think you win on the road and lose at home. Against the Steelers in Pittsburgh, you win. Against the Chargers in SoFi, you lose. Against the Eagles in Baltimore, you win. Against the Giants in Baltimore, you win. Against the Steelers in Baltimore, you win. Against the Texans in Houston, you lose. And against the Browns in Baltimore, you win. 15 wins. No reason this team couldn't be close, if not first team in the AFC. And their schedule is very favorable. They don't face the 49ers. They don't face, they don't have to really face anybody besides the Chiefs, Bills, Bengals, because, obviously they're in the division, so it doesn't even count. You face the Chargers once, depending on how they are, and then the Texans. So your schedule's highly favorable to be almost 14, 15 win team. We go to Cincy. Cincy is one simple thing. Can Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase stay healthy for a full season? And once they get to the playoffs, can they keep the magic cooking? We know this roster. Joe Burrow. Chase Brown is going to be the lead back with Chris Evans and Zach Moss. It's going to be interesting. Travion Williams is a guy to watch out for, though, to come out. Hakeem Butler, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Iasovias, Trent Irwin, Kamai Lassiter, Kendrick Pryor. Then you have Mike Gesicki, Tanner Hudson, Drew Sample. Okay? You have your offensive line, Amarius Mims. See how that rookie does this year. On the line, Orlando Brown Jr., Zeus. On the defensive side, Trey Hendrickson, expecting big things out of you. Sam Hubbard, expecting things out. Miles Murphy, expecting huge things out of you. Then it gets a little, oh, what are we doing? What are we doing? Then you got McKinley Jackson and BJ Hill. Chris Jenkins expecting big things out of you, rookie from Michigan. Sheldon Rankings expecting you to stop the run. Then we have Akeem Davis Gaither. We have Mayaman Nagometa. Jermaine Pratt, Logan Wilson expect you to dominate in the getting tackles. Dax Hill gonna have a good season at corner. Mike Hilton still there. Josh Newton, DJ Turner expect a good season from the corner. Jordan Battle, Von Bell, and Geno Stone still with Evan McPherson. You have a good coach in Zach Taylor. Patriots at home, you're annihilating. Chiefs in the kingdom, you're losing. Against the Commanders at home, you're winning. Against the Panthers on the road, you're winning. Against the Ravens at home, you lose at home. Against the Giants in the Meadowlands, you win. Against the Browns in Cleveland, you lose. That defense is too good. Against the Eagles in Cincy. You win. Against the Raiders in Cincy, you win. Against the Ravens in Baltimore, you win. Against the Chargers in SoFi, you lose. Against the Steelers in Cincy, you win. Against the Cowboys in Dallas, you win. Against the Titans in Tennessee, you win. Then you go back to against the Browns at home, you win. You win against the Broncos at home. And you win against the Steelers at home. 13, 14 wins. You know, anywhere from 11 to 13 wins. Second in the AFC, possibly. Number one in the division, possibly. There's some toss-ups in there. Ravens could win both. The Steelers could always steal one. Broncos could be playing really well at the end of the year. The Browns could steal another one. The Cowboys could steal one. So there's some stealable games in there. But how I feel, the Eagles, how I feel is 11 to 13 win team because of Joe Burrow on a revenge tour with Jamar Chase and Zachary Taylor. And last but not least, actually, no, with two more teams. Cleveland. Deshaun Watson works or nah? That's it. That's what everybody's wondering. Deshaun Watson works or nah? Period. If you look at the roster's pretty good. If Deshaun Watson doesn't work, probably is going to be DTR. You have Nick Chubb coming back from the awful injury. I think he'll be good. He'll get some. He needs to get his legs under him. It might be Jameis Winston, actually. Maybe not DTR, but we'll see. Nick Chubb and Jerome Ford, really good. You still have Naheem Hines. And then you go David Bell. Amari Cooper's going to have a good year. Jalen Darden might have to try to resurrect his career now with Cleveland since it didn't work where he got drafted in Tampa Bay. Jerry Jeudy trying to get a new lease on life. Elijah Moore still trying to make his way. James Prochet trying to make his way. Cedric Tillman. You've got Jordan Atkins. You have David Njoku. Okay? It was looking pretty good. Offensively. Pretty good offensive. You have Joe Bitonio. You know, you still have White Teller. Zach Sinter. Jack Conklin. Like, you have who you need. Jared Drick Wills. You have who you need. DeJuan Jones. On defense, Myles Garrett. Sam Kamara. You have Orakokongwo You have Cedarius Smith. And you have Briggs. You got Mike Hall, Shayer B. Harris, Maurice Hurst, Siaki Ika. Dalvin Tomlinson. Then you got Devin Bush. That's pretty good. You have Landon Honeycutt. For some reason, don't have even a name here. Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, you just paid him. I expect him to be your tackle leader. You have your Martin Emerson. He should be good on the outside. Greg Newsome should be good on the outside. Denzel Ward should be a monster. Ronnie Hickman should be could be being a good safety. Juan Thornhill could be an all-pro safety again. So you have everything you need with a good coach in Kevin Stefanski against the Cowboys at home. Man, is this a toss-up. Cowboys at home in Cleveland, week 1. I think you win that. I think that defense pulls through. Against the Jaguars in Jacksonville, you lose. Against the Giants in Cleveland, you win. Against the Raiders in Las Vegas, you win. Against the Commanders in Washington, you lose. Big day for Jaden Daniels. Against the Eagles in Philly, you lose. Against the Bengals in Cleveland, you lose. Against the Ravens in Cleveland, you lose. Against the Chargers in Cleveland, you win. Against the Browns, against the Saints in New Orleans, you win. Against the Steelers in Cleveland, you win. Against the Broncos in Denver, you lose. Against the Steelers in Pittsburgh, you lose, unfortunately, because you guys always do. Against the Chiefs in Cleveland, you lose. Against the Bengals in Cincy, you win at the end of the year. Against the Dolphins in Cleveland, man. I'm going to say you lose. I think we're going to be humming. And then against the Ravens in Baltimore, you're losing. Man, 7 to 9 wins is what we're talking about here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 wins at the bare minimum. You can flip the Broncos one, you can win. You can win both of the Steelers one. You can maybe win against the Chargers. You can maybe win against the Eagles. And maybe the Jaguars. So 6 to 9 wins. That's what it's looking like. Can Deshaun Watson play? That's it. Pittsburgh. Let's start off with that. Roster. Oh, by the way. Defense and what? That's Pittsburgh. TJ Watt and who? That's it. That's their season. TJ Watt, question mark. Or just TJ Watt. Just TJ Watt and a question mark. That's it. That's the season. Because right now, Justin Fields and Russell Wilson are not looking like the guys. And in this division, you need a guy. And I love Russell Wilson. Najee, still slow. Cordero Patterson, still slow. I think Jaylen Warren's going to take over there in short order. Calvin Austin. Des Fitzpatrick. Van Jefferson, Scotty Miller, George Pickens should be their number one. Roman Wilson, we'll see what the rookie out of Michigan does. Pratt Freiermuth, he could be their number one target. Michael Pruitt, Darnell Washington, see if he can catch now. The offensive line, Nate Herbig, Toy Fautanu when he comes back. Hopefully he's back for the week one. Broderick Jones. And then the defense, DeMarvin Leal. Expect something from the rookie or second-year player, I believe. Then we got Keanu Benton, Cameron Hayward, Old Ironhead. Larry Unjovi. Expect big things out of him. Nate Herbig. Expect big things out of him. I've seen some big things in preseason. I think he's going to be one of the real rotation DNs. Alex Highsmith probably going to have a good season. Cole Holcomb going to have a good season. Patrick Queen going to be a great addition. Elandon Roberts going to have a good season. TJ Watt, I expect another 15-plus sack season, close to 20. Peyton Wilson going to be a good addition to that linebacking core. The rookie. You have Dante Jackson. You got Joey Porter Jr. going for a great sophomore year. Ryan Watts, the rookie out of Texas at corner. You have Minka Fitzpatrick, DeMonte Casey, Deshaun Elliott. So you got a good squad on defense against the Falcons. At home in Atlanta, you're losing. And the reason you're losing, you don't have the offense. Against the Broncos in Denver, you're losing, don't have the offense. Against the Chargers in Pittsburgh, you're losing, don't have the offense. Against the Colts in Indianapolis, I think you win that game because of your defense. Against the Cowboys in Pittsburgh, you're losing, don't have the offense. Against the Raiders in Las Vegas, I think it's a low-scoring game, but you have the it's going to be a defensive affair. Gardner Minshew versus Russell Wilson or Justin Fields. Man, that is a toss-up of a game, and I'm going to go with the Steelers. I'm going to believe in TJ Watt, although I love Max Crosby and Devontae Adams on the other side as well, and Brock Bowers. But Gardner Minshew to Russell Wilson or Justin Fields, I mean, that's just a toss-up. Against the Jets in Pittsburgh, you're losing. You don't have the offense. Against the Giants in Pittsburgh, you're winning. Against the Commanders in Washington, you're losing. Don't got the offense. You're going against Cliff Kingsbury. You don't got the offense for that. You got to hope TJ Watt just dominates that game. Against the Ravens in Pittsburgh, you're losing. Don't got the offense. Against the Browns in Cleveland, you're losing. I think in Cleveland, you lose. Against the Bengals in Cincinnati, you're losing. Don't have the offense. Against the Browns in Pittsburgh, you win. The defense pulls through. Against the Eagles in Philly, you're losing. Don't got the offense. Against the Ravens in Baltimore, you're losing. Don't have the offense. Against the Chiefs in Pittsburgh, you're losing. Don't have the offense. And against the Bengals in Pittsburgh, probably the Bengals are not going to be playing for anything. You guys win that one. We are looking at a horrible, horrible season. How many wins realistically are we looking at here? 1, 2, 3. Man, 4. 4 wins. 5 wins. So I'm going to say 5 to 7. But it's looking more like 5. That's how tough not only that division is, but that's how tough the conference is if you don't have a guy at quarterback. You can have one of the best defenders of all time in TJ Watt, and it's not going to lead you to anywhere without a quarterback that can put the ball in your playmaker's hands when you need it the most. And that's the problem that they have. They don't have a Lamar Jackson. They don't have a Joe Burrow. They don't have a CJ Stroud. They don't have a Jordan Love. They don't have a Trevor Lawrence. They don't have even Aaron Rodgers. Like, they just don't have Kirk Cousins. They don't have it. Well, from what I've seen in preseason and what people are talking about, they do not have it. So that's it for that. Now let's finish it off with MLB. The standings closer than ever. New York has a half-game lead on Baltimore now, so that switched. Cleveland has a 2.5-game lead and a 3-game lead on KC. 2.5-game lead on Minnesota. Houston has a 4.5-game lead on Seattle, so they're just edging out more and more, just trying to cinch it up with 6 weeks left. Atlanta is 7 games back of Philly. I think that's done. Milwaukee's 11.5 games up on the Cubs. That's done. And then the Dodgers are 3.5 up on the Arizona Diamondbacks and 3.5 up on San Diego Padres. If we go to the wild card, Baltimore is 3 games up on KC for the last spot. The Twins are half a game up. Boston is 3 games back. Tampa Bay 6.5 games back. Seattle 6.5 games back. If KC just plays, like we said, 60%, 70% baseball, they should get the wild card spot. But they're also only 3 games behind Cleveland. Arizona is 4 games up on Atlanta, and so is the Padres, 4 games up on Atlanta for the last wild card spot. The Mets are 1.5 games back of Atlanta. The San Francisco Giants are 3.5 games back. Chicago's 5 games back. St. Louis is 5.5 games back. Cincinnati 6 games back. And Pittsburgh's 8 games back. And I think Pittsburgh is at this point. At this point, I think Pittsburgh's done. Okay. At this point, I think Pittsburgh's done. If we check the stats real quick, something crazy happened today. Ellie De La Cruz, Electric Ellie, guy just came in last year and just started being electric. 20 home runs, 60 stolen bases. 5th player ever to do it. Last player to do it was Ronald Acuna last year. He went 40 and 73, which is insane. He's the only guy part of that club. Ricky Henderson, I have the list right here. Ricky Henderson, I believe Dan Morgan. It's been all the base stealers basically in history. It's who it's been. Let's see. I had it here. Could have sworn. Let me see. It was Ricky Henderson, which is the ultimate base stealer in baseball ever. Yeah, so he's part of the 2060 club. He just got his 60th stolen base today. Joey Votto. I love how they just post a bunch of Joey Votto stuff. The Ellie De La Cruz thing just happened. It's hilarious. Trying to find it. I just had it here. That's the thing about Twitter. It moves up. It moves so fast. That like you see something like 10 minutes, and then 10 minutes later, you can't find it anymore. It had the stats too. It had the years that it happened and everything. We're trying to find it. Now is proving difficult. I could have sworn I put a bookmark on it, but I guess not. But for him to get to 20 and 60 in his second year is absolutely incredible. That's crazy to me. Because we knew he was going to be super exciting. I knew he was going to be exciting based on what I saw last year. And to see this, that's insane. To see that, oh, here it is. Members of the 2060 Club. 20 home runs, 60 stolen bases in the same season. Joe Morgan, absolute legend and Hall of Famer, 1973, 1976. Rickey Henderson, the best base stealer of all time, 1985, 1986, and 1990. Eric Davis, another one of the greatest base stealers of all time in 1986. Ronald Acuna, 2023 last year. And Ellie De La Cruz, 2024. Congratulations, Ellie. Congratulations to Ellie. Bobby Witt Jr. is officially over 350. 352. Aaron Judge at 334. And Vlad is at 318. Steven Kwan's at 311. Aaron Judge just hit his 47th home run. Ohtani's at 39. He's one away from a 40-40 season. Osuna's at 37. He hit it yesterday. Anthony Santander hit it yesterday. He's at 37. And Soto is at 36, which is incredible to have those two guys on the same team. RBIs, 117 for Judge. Soto is at 93, so he'll be a 100 RBI guy, and the only people who ever done that in Yankees history has been Babe Ruth and Lou Gehrig, or Babe Ruth and Joe DiMaggio, I believe, or Babe Ruth and Mickey Mantle, one of those two. Bobby Witt's at 177 hits. He will get to 200. So he could possibly have 200 hits, 30 bombs, 30 or 40 stolen bases, a gold glove, a batting title. Yeah. And still not win the MVP because of Aaron Judge. Vlad is at 154. Altuve has a shot at 200 with 151. And that would be crazy for him to go 200. Ellie's at 60 stolen bases. Number 2, Shohei, he's at 38. So he's 2 away from 40. The wins, Lugo and Tarek Skubal, but we've been talking about the pitchers. It's Tarek Skubal and Chris Sale pretty much cinched up when we're talking about the Cy Young. Yeah. Well, other than that, thank you guys for joining me on episode 132 of the As I Talk podcast. I'm your host, Del Velez. I love you guys. God bless. Hit the notification bell. Like, subscribe. Follow me on all my socials. Like the reels. Share them. Share the podcast. Let's get big, people. Big things coming. Love you guys. God bless. And I'll leave you with the outro.
El fenómeno que todos quieren ser.